Uh, this is a little video on my Minecart rail system that connects into my item storage system, specifically my automatic storage and sorting system. So this is the bottom of the line. Essentially, you just have one really long track that goes that way, and you have one really long track that goes that way. And so the idea of this entire rail system is that while you're mining, you can just hop onto the rail, throw down a cart with a minecart chest, and then you just send it up the line, and then it will make its way into the automatic unloader. And that way, you don't really have to worry about having your inventory full, and you don't have to worry about sorting any of your items later on. So we're going to get into how that works. Essentially, um, we're using three mechanics. This is the first mechanic. So as a uh, player in a minecart, you are still tall enough to set off this tripwire hook. And so with this tripwire hook set, I've got the current circuitry to make it so that the proper torches are lit to ensure that this will direct us back into the position of control, I've called it. And essentially, from this position of control, if we hit this button, we're going to go to the left. If we hit this button, we're going to go straight. If we hit this button, we're going to go right up the line. And up there is the heart of the system. We'll get there in a moment. Another thing that this system takes advantage of is that detector rails will not set off a signal for a comparator if there's no item in it, in the minecart chest. However, as soon as there's a single item, as you see, this will then give the signal to have this cart go straight up into the system without having to go into the position of control. Because again, part of this whole reason for existence is that we want to make sure that items are automatically sent into the storage system. So from this point, if we were sending up a minecart with a chest with an item in it, we want it to go straight up. Now you might be um, wondering perhaps what happens in the event that I accidentally send one down. And this is what happens. So as you can see, that minecart with a chest got redirected because there was no tripwire hook tripped here, and there was no detector rail tripped there. And it ended up going back all the way up to the top of the line. So we're just going to take this all the way up to the top of the line. This rail will swap, we'll go through, and we'll go through two more sets, one and then two, of these sorters. And now errant minecarts are dropped into the sorting system here. Or sorry, the holding system. We'll go back down. And we'll stop here. So the power of this system here is that this being the heart is the section where the minecarts are now separated to go off their respective ways based off of what kind of minecart they are. The first filter here is the exact same tripwire, where if a player is going up the system, we want to ensure that they're going to go all the way up to the top of the line and not head to where any of the sorting is, which would be over here. So the tripwire hook in this instance will allow the player to just continue along its path. And we'll go here, and the tripwire hook will actually set this rail to join with this one, and we'll go like this, and we'll go right back up to the rest of the line. Now, for instance, in this scenario, if a errant minecart was sent up the line like it was a moment ago, it will trip neither, and it will just go up into the errant minecart section. We'll show you where that goes later, but for now it's not important. We take advantage of the fact that empty minecarts and minecarts with a chest with no item in it are treated the same, and we get to send them to the exact same spot. So it will trip neither the tripwire hook, nor will it set off this detector rail here, and it will eventually be sent back up into the exact same spot that all other minecarts are. However, as soon as we add items into this minecart with a chest, some things start to change. Instead of going on the other section, this rail will hop here onto this one, and it will hop the line and will go all the way up into the automatic minecart unloader. And this is going to be going in this direction. Now don't worry about this, the fact that this is going to go into here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But ordinarily, if you're sending up the first minecart, it will hop immediately into this unloader. And this is just an item minecart that is unloading into the automatic dropper that is now going to go into my tubes that I've set up that are feeding comparator sorters. So essentially the way this works is that this item hopper is locked. Right? So we're locking this one item in there by powering it. So right here. When a hopper is powered underneath, that hopper becomes locked and it won't spit it out into this next one. However, as soon as this item hopper has 23 items, this one will, this comparator will have enough redstone to now power this block, which will now then power this repeater, which will power this block, which will turn this torch off, and it will be off for exactly 1 tick and spit 1 block into the silo. Now, in its current configuration, all chests are diverted into what I call the item minecart hopper. And this is because I wanted a way to hold as many minecarts with a chest as possible. So I had to, so I got to stay down in the mine longer. So if I just wanted to, I could take 4 or 5 of these minecart chests, go on like a 3-hour mining trip, and not have to come back. And there we go. So for the next, the same will happen. And if at this moment we were to send up another minecart, it would hop into this system, and this piston here would then cover it so that the next one could fall in suit. I've designed the system to let me know exactly how many minecarts are in this system. So as you can see, this turned off torch means that a minecart is currently unloading, as well as we have 2 more minecarts in the hopper waiting. Now I call these affectionately silos because essentially these will let me know how many items are in these chests based off of the amount of redstone lamps that are lit. So for example, in smooth stone, we have 3 double chests at least with items that are in there. So the third double chest may not be completely full, and it isn't in this case, but it's that there are items in there that trigger the comparator to trigger the block, which will then power the redstone lamp. Now for the rest of the tubes, the storage and sorting system is tileable, so you just have to have a 2-block gap in between, and the silos are 3 blocks wide each. Now we're using packed ice here and signs to make sure that the items will flow freely. The raw iron is now being flowed through the tunnel, and I call it the tubes. It is being flowed over the filters for the other items because they're locked currently by comparators, as no other item could go into this item hopper, and is being flowed upwards through the soul sand. The iron is then brought over to the iron sorter, which would be right here. The raw iron is now filtered out, and instead of being placed into a chest, it's actually being dropped immediately into the super smelter. The coal will occasionally find its way into this chest through either a automatic system detecting that the coal chest is low, which will then trigger this piston to filter the coal through here first. Or we can lower it and force it manually through this redstone line here. The power is essentially the exact same piston, just a little bit differently. Now both gold will flow into this, so as you can see we've got gold and iron, and this is a dropper system that is powered through a comparator detecting that an item has gone through, and then it then actually powers itself. If the dropper detects an item in there, it will power this block, which powers the redstone, which powers the redstone here, which powers this block, which powers this repeater, which powers this here, and it all becomes a full circle. So now the smelted iron is sent up. We can follow it all the way through, and it finds its way into an unfiltered hopper. This is because this unfiltered hopper is then brought all the way into the goodies chest, I call it. And this is what actually sorts the items here through the use of filling up all of the space in this chest so that they're all automatically sorted itself. Now part of this line is the errant minecart line, or this is also the line that takes care of the finished unloading carts. So once this cart is done, it will come back down this line. A new one will be supplied in its place, but we're not worrying about that one now. And this cart will find itself running into 2 honey blocks with a little bit of fire. With the addition of honey blocks into the game, they are not actually a full block wide, and there's just enough for a little bit of flame to make its way through the honey block there. And with any flame touching a minecart, it will break automatically. This hopper will then steal that minecart and place it into this dropper. Intrigued as to what happens when these silos are to be full, and we reach the 5th lamp. Well, currently I have a manual storage system in the other side of my base that is going to house a little bit more than just 5 double chests of items. As a matter of fact, it's going to be an entire room dedicated to just overflow storage for this area. And how that works is that I have these buttons here that will all eventually work, but currently only a few of them do. And we'll just see what happens if we want to hit one. We hit this button, and this minecart that was here is going to steal about a hopper minecart's worth of items. As you can see, there it is. It's powered for just long enough to steal about a hopper's minecart full of items, and then the rail that it's on repowers and sends it into the tertiary system. That minecart is then sent into another automatic unloader and is sent exactly back to the old position. It's a pretty fast system and happens automatically. And there we are. You can swap out the button for a lever if you want to do this consistently, and really just empty out some of your overflow storage.